So you can do a clap like that, but you got to do the, huh? How about that?
I'm ready.
Right, good? Okay. This is a really important car to Gordon, and I think it's one of the first cars he was actually paid to design from the bottom up. He wasn't paid a lot of money. I think it was 250 quid and a scientific calculator from Alain de Cadenet, and he still has the scientific calculator. Gordon does, it's unbelievable. So, you know, the whole going to Le Mans in '72 with Chris and Alain driving, the whole team, you know, numbering, I think it was like 5 people. Stella making the sandwiches, keeping everybody fed. I think it was a really important time in Gordon's life, not even career, in his life. And he'd been made technical director at Brabham, but you could just tell that this car means the world to him. And with losing Chris, with Alain just dying, I think it's taken on even more importance to him. And you just watch when he walks round it, and you watch those memories come back from 50 years ago. And there's a lot of water under the bridge, a lot of cars designed since then, but this one is super, super important to him. So it was nice to give it a proper go at Laguna. And let's be honest, there's nothing like winning, is there?
Checkered flag is out for Dario Franchitti. He takes the checker for the victory. Franchitti in that number 68 car.
Yeah, so we did a pre-Laguna test at Silverstone, and came in, got fitted up for the car, and it was asked, do you want a seat? I said, no, I won't need a seat. You know, this is built for Le Mans. It's 1972, it's not going to have that much grip, not that much downforce. I'll be all right with no seat. You put some padding in, off we go. I did about 3 corners of Silverstone. I'm going to need a seat. So it was a really fun day at Silverstone, just getting used to the mechanical grip that the car's got. It's got huge tyres, got F1 size tyres on it. And yeah, I had an absolute ball at Silverstone. And Frank was there, Frank Koppak, our technical director, and seeing Frank in his sort of motor racing engineering persona was hilarious. He was having so much fun, and we made some changes to the car to make it a little bit better, balanced it a bit better, and I think it caused quite a stir. You've seen this car back out on the track was, yeah, a lot of people were quite excited about it, I think. Lengthen that again next time. Okay.
Let's try that to start with. Yep.
Oh yeah, there was a moment with the fire extinguisher. Yeah, forgot about that. So most people at some point in their racing career will have a fire extinguisher go off when they're sitting in the car. I managed 30 something years and not have that happen. We were sitting there, and I think it was an electrical issue. It was like a misfire or something. And somehow the fire extinguisher went off as I was sitting there. So I got the belts off and ejected and did the old 4-second test. I was out of the car in pretty quick time. No, I'd driven a lot at Laguna Seca, and a lot of different types of car actually, from really old cars, from Dan Gurney's Maserati Birdcage to a modern Indy car, sports car. I will say that for me, Laguna Seca is a lot more fun in an older car, because you can really give the car its head, where in a modern car you constantly feel restricted by the circuit. Yeah, it was a lot of fun in this car. And there was an interesting moment when so Frank at first was not going to come to the event, and I was like, oh, it'd be really good if Frank was there just in case. Thank goodness we took Frank with us, but he went into full race engineer mode. Every practice session, the first car that was in the assembly area was the Duckhams. So Frank and the mechanics are baking in the California sun every session for, sometimes an hour. And it was also, I'd get 1 or 2 clear laps before we got involved in traffic. And, he took a whole different persona on, when he's working in his real job, he's very, very serious. But he was, the competitive side of him came out, and I thought it was brilliant. I really enjoyed seeing that side of him. So to me, the hardest thing about driving this car was every time I'd look in the mirror and I'd read the word Amanda. Now, Amanda was Alain de Cadenet's daughter. And I asked Alain why it had Amanda's name on the car. And he explained that when they were doing this project, the first Mrs. de Cadenet was pregnant with Amanda, and Alain's mum had put aside some money to help with childbirth, all the doctor's bills, and he spent the money on the car. So he said the least I could do was put her name on the car. So every time I was driving, I'd look in the mirror, I'd start laughing. Every lap at Laguna, I'd start laughing. And little known fact, when you're laughing, it's very difficult to brake hard enough. So yeah, that almost caused a few crashes. Well, it was a busy week. When we went to Laguna Seca, it was a really busy week for the company, for everybody involved, because we were launching Gordon Murray Automotive in the US with T50, T33 on the stand. We were at the Quail with that. We had customers at another place. We had a lot going on. And in the meantime, we were trying to do some serious work. We were trying to have a load of fun with the Duckhams. And so I was running around different places. And I was excited to drive this at Laguna. I thought it would be a load of fun. The first thing I noticed, there was about a third of the grip at Laguna Seca than there was at Silverstone, first of all. I had made a lovely seat though. The seat in there is a work of art, it was a really good process. Getting fitted for the car, that I'm really fussy when I'm getting fitted for a car, as anybody who's worked with me will know. But the guys in the prototype shops, I sort of said, I need a bit of a head pad here. Actually, I've got it here somewhere. Head pad. And the guys knocked this up in, a couple of minutes. And then I wanted a pedal to brace myself. That was done. The seat was fantastic. Right up until the guy who made the seat said, oh yeah, my dad made your first IndyCar seat. So yeah, that aged me a bit. But yeah, so got on the track at Laguna Seca. A lot of hard work had gone on to get everything there, as well as moving T50 around, moving T30. So the team were really, really busy. I wasn't. I was having a good time. And the first practice, we had an issue after a couple of laps with the brake pedal. So I was coming down the hill out of the corkscrew and I was just brushing the brake pedal and I felt it start to get a little bit long. So the next corner I went a bit slower and it was going longer again. So by the time I got to the pit lane where the guys were, there was no brakes at all. So subsequently there was a problem with one of the master cylinders and the guys fixed that very quickly. And then the next day there was another practice session and I went out, I did one lap, and on the second lap I felt something with the suspension going over the crest of turn 1. So I just backed off a bit, and by the time I got to turn 4 and just braked, the suspension collapsed and machined the wheel. These are new wheels. These are not the wheels that we had at Laguna. What had happened, this car had been designed to race at Le Mans, which is perfectly flat. And you go to Laguna Seca and the wheels are in droop. And a lot of the lap, you're going to corkscrew and the track falls away and the wheels go into droop at all these different points within the track. So never been designed to do that. So it pulled the wishbone out of the upright. The wishbone then machined the wheel, caused a flat tire. Anyway, parked at the side of the track. And we thought at that point we were done. I thought that was it, weekend over. We actually had wheels for the Brabham BT44, which fit here, but we just didn't know what we could do. That's where Frank Kopak, Gordon got involved, and Gordon was running around, talking to customers, doing all the things launching the company. But then Frank got involved redesigning the front suspension. Gordon came up, him and Frank had a discussion about it. The mechanics fixed it, and then there was a discussion, should we do it? Should we race? We missed the first race because they were rebuilding the car. And we went out in the second race. I think I started 3rd, 4th. And I was leading by the first corner. In fairness, the other cars were 2-litre cars. They were more modern than this, but they were 2-litre cars. That's a Formula 1 spec Cosworth DFV in the back. So it was kind of like bringing a gun to a knife fight.
68, Dario Franchitti still on point and pulling away. Franchitti in that 68 car trying to get around people. He's just passed 3 people between the starting bridge and turn 1. He's got some clear track and he will obviously make some ground. It is still Franchitti way out in front.
Franchitti working his way through traffic in that 68 car. Very, very comfortable lead.
Everything I've said, the most important thing about this whole experience was the fact my brother had driven this at Goodwood, and he waxed lyrically about how brilliant it was. So, I had to get in it and give it a proper run, because he did say, if you don't win in that car, you're useless. So it was nice to prove that wrong. After a couple of laps, I was able to back off, because basically Gordon was standing at a certain corner, and I knew Gordon wanted to see the car being driven really quickly. So I pushed through those 2 corners and kind of took it easy through the rest of the lap. But it was important to him because, he hadn't seen his car run in 50 years. He'd lost Chris a number of years ago, and Alain had just died, and it was really, you could tell it was really important to him that he saw this thing run. So we went out and gave it a good spin. So it was a lot of fun, and the aftermath, seeing his emotion, was incredible. And my brother, Marino, and I were sitting in the truck with him afterwards, just dissecting the race. And then we jumped in the car and drove back to Monterey. And the discussion went something like, as kids, what would we have given to be able to sit and have a discussion with Gordon Murray about winning a race in one of his cars? And that, to me, made it a very, very special thing. And a couple of weeks later, he sent me a lovely handwritten note and a wee trophy. So, all in all, it was just the most wonderful event, wonderful weekend. And I love this little car.
Good,